Call to order. I'd like to welcome everyone this morning. Adoption of minutes.
Be it resolved that the minutes of the meeting held on May 24th, 2022 be adopted.
Someone to move, someone to second. Councillor Mennel and Deputy Warden Marks, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? None. There are no petitions, presentations, or delegations today. Committee of the whole.
Be it resolved that we do now move into committee of the whole.
Someone to move, someone to second. Councillor Jones and Councillor Martin. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is Warden's Activity Report.
Be it resolved that the report titled Warden's Activity Report for May and COVID-19 Update dated June 6, 2022 from Warden French be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Purcell and seconded by Councillor Ketchupa. Are there any questions or comments concerning this report? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. The next item is Procurement Activity Report.
Be it resolved that the report titled Procurement Activity Report, January 1, 2022 to March 31st, 2022, dated May 31st, 2022, from the Purchasing Coordinator be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Mennel and Councillor Jones. Good morning, Mike. I'll turn it over to you if you want to give us a little bit more information on your report.
Sounds good. Good morning. Thank you, Madam Warren, through you to County Council. So this quarterly activity report details the awards of contracts that were approved by the directors, valued between $15,000 and $250,000. The report covers the period from January to March of this year. The list of the projects, the approved supplier, and the amounts are attached to this report as Appendix A. You'll note as well that there were a number of projects that relate to the community paramedicine program, which did have a funding deadline of March 31st. At this time, I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Are there any questions for Mike? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. And thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you, everybody.
The next item is Elgin 1342961 Ontario Incorporated.
Be it resolved that the report to council dated May 30th, 2022 and entitled Elgin 1342961 Ontario Incorporated, approval of commercial lease Elgin County Administration Building, Suite 313, Storage Room 34 be received and filed, and that retroactive to May 1st, 2022, Elgin County Council approve a new commercial lease agreement between 1342961 Ontario Incorporated and Elgin in relation to Suite 313 and Storage Room 34 at 450 Sunset Drive, St. Thomas, Ontario. Such lease agreement to provide for, amongst other items, a 2-year term commencing May 1st, 2022, and annual rents of $43,866 and $44,755.20 respectively for the included lease years, and that Elgin County Council authorize the Warden and Chief Administrative Officer to execute the said lease agreements on behalf of the Corporation of the County of Elgin.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Martin and Councillor Giguère. Good morning, Steve. I'll turn this over to you, please.
Good morning. I'm not taking any chances on technology today. Self-explanatory report, in keeping with established pattern and terms and conditions, seek approval of a further 2-year lease. The operating corporation of Hennessy and Hogan law firm for the period commencing May 1st, 2022. Prepared to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Are there any questions for Steve? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is Elgin Alzheimer Society Southwest Partners.
Be it resolved that the report to council dated May 30th, 2022 and entitled Elgin Alzheimer's Society Southwest Partners Approval of Commercial Lease Elgin County Administration Building Suites 229, 232 and 237-1 and Storage Room 344 be received and filed, and that retroactive to May 1st, 2022, Elgin County Council approve a new commercial lease agreement between Alzheimer's Society Southwest Partners and Elgin County in relation to Suites 229, 232, and 237-1, as well as Storage Room 344 at 450 Sunset Drive, St. Thomas, Ontario, such as lease agreement to provide for, amongst other items, a one-year term commencing May 1st, 2022, with a further one-year renewal at the option of the tenant, and generating annual rents of $21,613.70 and $22,467.06 respectively for the included lease years, and that Elgin County Council authorize the Warden and Chief Administrative Officer to execute the said lease agreement on behalf of the Corporation of the County of Elgin.
Thank you, Julie. Someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Purcell, and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. And I'll turn this one over to you, Steve.
Thank you. Again, a self-explanatory report in keeping with established lease pattern and all standard terms and conditions. Seek approval of a one-year lease with a one-year guaranteed extension right at the option of the tenant. Prepared to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Steve? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
The next item up is Welcome Home Video Campaign.
Be it resolved that the report titled Welcome Home Video Campaign dated June 6, 2022 from the Interim Manager of Economic Development and Tourism be deferred for consideration at the June 28th meeting of County Council.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Ketchabah and Councillor McPhail. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Jones, go ahead.
Comment, I know a videographer who's out at Rosie Rhubarb, so he's still probably adding to the video. I'm hoping lots of Rosies in there.
Are there any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. The next item up is Transportation Master Plan. So what we're going to do with this, because there are options, we'll turn this over to Brian, and he'll do a recap of the report, and then we can have a discussion and then choose what option we believe is the right way to go. So, welcome, Brian.
Morning, Madam Warden. Thank you through the council. Staff have prepared a brief PowerPoint presentation which details today's discussion and the purpose of today's report. It is a lengthy presentation, so I'll do my best to get through it as quickly as possible. So, next slide. This slide just showcases the study process with respect to where we are at right now. We have recently embarked upon phase 3 of the 4th phase, total 4 phases of the study, and are nearing anticipated public consultation meeting number 2, which we plan to take place hopefully later this month or early February. Slide. As part of the study, 14 distinct strategies were reviewed. Those included cycling master plan, a transit feasibility study for the purposes of today's discussion, road rationalization, a review of commercial vehicle impacts, functional road classification, and the second part of today's discussion being local bridge rationalization. In addition, next slide, a review of road design guidelines and the need to enhance county guidelines, safety review throughout the county's road network. The development of a roundabout screening tool is anticipated as an outcome of this study as well. Travel demand management and modeling of the county's road network has been undertaken. Consideration of the county's rich history with respect to rail freight and efforts to support that or enhance that. Carpool lots and expansion of infrastructure that exists throughout the county. With the importance of fiber within the county's road network, guidelines to design and supports those efforts, and then finally, emerging new technologies, predominantly with self-driving cars, was also considered. Next slide. To support the study, a municipal advisory committee group was established. Individuals representing local interests are identified there and have been instrumental in guiding the study and providing input along the way. Road rationalization from a philosophical standpoint, it was determined that the road network should support business, economic development, and growth in the county, as well as meet the transportation needs of existing communities. It also requires an effort to provide an increased level of service where it is required. County roads are to function as arterial and major county roads and to provide for the efficient movement of traffic. With respect to the Municipal Act, abilities exist for upper tier municipalities to both add to their existing road network as well as divest assets to a lower tier municipality. Now, with respect to the road rationalization process, a three-step process was undertaken, whereby step one, each of the local representatives on the committee were asked to provide a list of roads that they felt should be considered for county assumption. Step two, in accordance with Ontario Good Roads Association road rationalization criteria process, a scoring system was applied to those road networks for consideration, in addition to the entire county road network. And then finally, step three, network principles were also applied that gives consideration to critical elements such as road connectivity with communities, neighboring municipalities, and others. Next slide. This next slide provides a list of the recommended road sections recommended by your local representatives that were also included as part of the overall county road network consideration. Here's a map which illustrates each of those recommended road sections, local road sections, for possible upload to the county. Next, once again, the application of OJRA's scoring criterion. There is 12 criteria that for which scoring was applied. Those roads that achieved a minimum score of 6 or more moved on to the application of criteria 10 through 12, and I'll go through each of them as we move forward. So with respect to criteria 1, it reviews the existence and presence of each of those, or rather has consideration with respect to the presence of settlement communities. Map as showcased there showcases each of those communities, and then finally a scoring system is applied. Criteria number 2 looked at location of aggregate sites throughout the county and the applicable scoring system applied in accordance with OJRA guidance. Next, truck traffic volumes were showcased and reviewed as based upon the county's annual road counts data. Then again, scoring system applied. Next, criteria number 4 looks at barrier service. Barrier implying physical attributes that dissect the county road network. So in this case, provincial highways, water bodies, etc. And then again, the applicable scoring applied. Next, criteria number 4 looks at tourism corridors as identified historically by county council. And then again, scoring applied. Criteria number 6, again based upon the county traffic count data, reviewed traffic speeds throughout the county, and then applicable score applied. Criteria number 7 considers the existing road surface for each county road segment, as well as those road segments recommended for upload. And then again, the applicable score is applied. Criterion 8 then reviewed weekday traffic volumes and the applicable score applied. Criterion number 9, right-of-way widths throughout each of those road sections was also reviewed and the applicable score applied. Now, the scores were added as it relates to criterion 1 through 9, and the map before you just showcases that scoring breakdown for each road segment. Next slide showcases the partial county road network, showcasing road segments that achieved a score of 6 or more. Next, criterions 10 through 12 are applied for those road segments that scored 6 or more and have regard for adjacent municipal arterial extensions whereby minimum traffic count volumes are achieved, have consideration for connectivity to other county arterial roads, adjacent municipalities or settlement communities, as well as First Nation communities. Criterion 10 identifies those arterial extensions on the map before you. And then again, building upon that partial county road network, begin to see a semblance of what the recommended initial county road network should consist of, based on OGRA's criteria. Next, criterion 11 looks at urban network spacing, and this is a review as well as a scoring system applied based on population density. It's important to note, as shown in the red text there, that no additional road segments were identified as a result of this criterion. Criterion 12 looked at rural network spacing. Again, no additional road segments were identified under this criterion and has regard for density, population density as well. Criterion 11 and 12, when mapped, as you can see, once again, no additional road segments were recommended for incorporation. So step 3 involved application of network connectivity principles to complete the network. So in this final step in evaluation and consultation with the committee, road segments which connected to 400 series highways were deemed critical road segments. County road network, it was agreed to the extent possible the county road network from an operational standpoint should avoid spurs, added additional road segments to close short or strategic route continuity gaps in the road network. 4, that the county may retain selected road segments to maintain redundancy in the network. And finally, that the county may retain selected segments with higher traffic volumes and or truck traffic volumes. Application of county road network connectivity principles. You begin to see the additional links in the blue dotted lines showcased on the map. Next map showcases the proposed county road network having considered all 12 criterion. And you begin to see the semblance. The next map showcases proposed road network showing potential road transfers, having regard once again for OGRA's criteria. So with respect to asset transfer timing, the TMP has identified a long-term study review as well as an extended horizon study timeframe to 2066. The study recommends that road rationalization implementation plan be developed that considers the county's 10-year capital plan and determines timing and conditions of proposed asset transfers in the near term. The following map reduces the long-term proposed road network and identifies proposed road transfers in the 10-year near-term planning horizon. And it's important to note that the previous map had identified 180 kilometers of potential transfers, and the near-term 10-year plan reduces that to 27 kilometers. So this map illustrates each of those proposed near-term potential transfers. Next, county bridges. This map showcases those county bridges that reside either as boundary road bridges or serve to protect or serve local county roads. Those bridges identified with the red dots indicate bridges that have recently, as late as 2021, been identified in the county's OSIM in bridge inspection reports as requiring replacement or major repairs within the next 5 years. With respect to consideration of potential divestment of county structures, elements for consideration reviewed as part by the study team included: is the bridge part of a significant redundant route for a county road? Are the current bridge volumes, what are the current bridge volumes? Are they low? Are they high? Are the redundant structures or routes nearby to support traffic if the bridge were to be closed? Are the current load and dimensional restrictions applied on a particular structure? Would removing the bridge create undue hardship? Would emergency services be detrimentally impacted by any change in that regard? And finally, significant growth expected that would result in increased bridge use. The spreadsheet just provides a detailed individual bridge details, both with respect to dimensional attributes as well as recommended investment as identified in the OSIM report, as well as detailing the initial study reviews recommendation. This map before council showcases proposed local road bridges under county jurisdiction and breaks out 3 specific recommendations. Those for which is recommended remain in the county's ownership. 2 candidates for potential closure to motorized vehicles and possible repurposing for recreational use. And then finally, candidates for download to the local municipality. So, with respect to next steps, asset transfer protocol has not yet been developed nor approved by County Council. At least 2 options at the present time in consultation with the committee exists. First, being to complete planned works prior to transfer, or to transfer assets in their existing condition along with earmarked funds in the county's capital budget to LMPs such that they can make their own investment decisions. Staff seeks council direction to meet with LMP senior staff in order to discuss asset transfer protocol, their comments received to date, and to report back to council with a plan for their approval. So, in summary, recommendations for council are option 1, that staff advance the county road rationalization study and be directed to meet with local staff to discuss written feedback provided and discuss jurisdictional impacts and concerns, and that feedback received from these discussions inform the component of an implementation action plan for consideration by the Elgin County Budget Committee and County Council in 2022, or option 2, that an implementation action plan to advance the road rationalization study be delayed in whole or part until the 2022 to 2026 term of County Council. With that, Madam Warren, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Are there any questions for Brian concerning this report? Go ahead, Ketchbaugh.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Through you to Brian. Can you put a little more definition on, say, the time horizon when we talk near term? Like, I know it's couched within the 10-year capital plan, but near term, does that mean that we're thinking within that 10-year plan, within the 20-year plan? What's near term?
Yeah, through you, Madam Warren, near term is contemplated and consistent with the capital budget. So within the next 10 years, potential divestments or recommendation with respect to divestment could be made by county council.
Councillor Purcell?
Yeah, just a clarification for me, both options 1 and 2 really are gonna end up being implemented by the new councils. So if we took option 1, all we're doing is a lot of the groundwork for that. So there's no reason to delay that, or is that a bad read on what we're doing?
Through you, Madam Warren, that quite frankly is a decision of council.
No, I know, I don't mind it being a decision, but I just want to make sure my thinking is correct. If we go ahead with option 1, we're doing a lot more of the back work. It's going to happen anyway. But the final decision, no matter how hard we work, will happen with the new council. Okay.
Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Warden. Through you, Brian. So with regards to rationalization, when I go back to my township, municipality, obviously there's a cost savings to the county to do this. Is there going to be cost savings when it comes time for the tax bill to roll out? And because obviously it's going to be transferred to the lower tier municipalities who are going to have to pick up the slack. So is there going to be justification for the transfer that I can say, well, it's not going to cost us more. It should save you county taxes, which in the end run will be the same when we have to raise our taxes to cover off the new road or bridge.
Yeah, through you, Madam Warren, that net impact would be seen. So there would be a savings to the county's capital plan, which in turn would reduce the county levy with respect to expectation of costs in that regard. In turn, however, the local municipality would may see increased costs with respect to their capital plans, with respect to the long-term maintenance of that asset as well.
Councillor McPhail?
That's, Grant is just one step ahead of me here, and that was going to be my question, that yes, this is, whether it's rearranging the deck chairs or passing the hot potatoes back and forth, I'm not sure which it is, but is there a financial component to this whole plan that, again, as Councillor has said, that each municipality will be able to, for 2 reasons, know what they have to do if it's turned over to them, increase their budget, and balancing that off of what is going to be taken out of the budget by sending it in the county levy. And I think that keeping in mind that there is the only one taxpayer in Elgin County, so how is this all balance out that it's going to be the best for that taxpayer and not specifically for the county or for the lower tier? So I haven't seen any financial component to this idea to really determine if there is a benefit by doing this.
Julie, do you have a comment? Go ahead.
Certainly. So we fully anticipated that there would be a lot of questions about financial impacts locally, impacts to the road maintenance agreement associated with road rationalization, funding when that happens, whether it's as part of the county's 10-year capital plan and a transfer happens at that time. So we wanted to offer council the option of having Brian and I go out and meet to have these discussions and hear those concerns firsthand, and then wrap it all up, bring it back to council for consideration, and understanding that, to Councillor Purcell's point, this is something that's going to take some time because it is potentially quite a sensitive and contentious issue that we want to take our time and fully research and collaborate with our local municipal partners to understand what the impacts are, both at the upper tier and the lower tier, so that everyone is on side and we can provide a sound recommendation to either this council or assuming the next council. So I think everyone has local nuances that need to be considered and local funding pressures and other kind of sensitivities, some of which we aren't aware of yet, but I hope will come to light through those discussions as we collaborate with our partners.
Councillor Martin?
Yes, just, my staff have talked to me about this a bit because we brought the one up with East Road, and so I was aware. And I know they're very concerned that it's going to be very costly for Central Elgin to take on the number of roads that you're downloading to them. One of the concerns was even the old Dexter line, because we got the Harding Smith one, then we ended up having to buy all the properties all the way along it because the road was collapsing into the lake. And so by downloading the old Dexter line, that's like a reoccurring thing. And I know when we said that we were willing to change, we didn't want that one changed from the county. That's just an example. But the one I was curious about, you did weekday traffic volumes, but you didn't do weekend traffic volumes. And I'll tell you, Sparta Line is exceedingly busy through the summer months, certainly from May to October because of the drag strip and the tourism. Plus, you're also recommending you keep Gillett's Bridge because it's a corridor bridge and you're getting rid of Jamestown, which I totally agree with. But Gillett's Bridge won't be on a county road at all anymore. So it's just curious, some of the criteria. And I agree, we're not into details today, but those are just some thoughts that I had when I read through your report. It was a very detailed and interesting report, but I would really like to have seen a traffic count on weekends on certain roads because tourism roads are extremely busy on weekends.
Councillor Mennel?
Thank you, Madam Warden. Today, all we're doing is, are we going to look into this today, or are we going to put it off to the next council? There's going to be loads and loads of negotiation between the county level and the lower tier. So I'm in favor of option one and just starting the program moving forward.
Any further comments?
In fact, I'll move option one.
Everybody's okay? You have any further questions with this report? And is everybody pretty well in agreement with what Councillor Mennel's suggesting? Because we'll need someone to second it. Is someone prepared to second it? Councillor Ketchabot?
Yeah, Madam Warden, yes, I'm happy to second it. I agree with Councillor Mennel here that this is going to take a lot of discussion.
Heavy negotiation.
There'll be a lot of negotiation. Absolutely. The condition of the asset when it's transferred, whether it's refurbished, whether it's, it's suggested within the report, a pool of cash that comes with it. There's a lot of moths to shake out of this blanket.
Any further questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor.
So I'm assuming as we shake the moths out of the blankets that there will be more financial information going to be
Yes.
coming forward out of all of that. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, if there aren't any further questions or comments, we're going with option one. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is 2022 Warden's Charity Golf Tournament.
Be it resolved that the report titled 2022 Warden's Charity Golf Tournament from the Chief Administrative Officer dated June 1st, 2022 be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jones and seconded by Councillor Martin. Julie, did you want to give a bit of a recap of this?
Madam Warden, to members of council, at its meeting on May 24th, 2022, County Council directed staff to prepare a report which considered Councillor Mennel's request a charity golf tournament in 2022. For 2022, we did plan and hold a non-golf fundraiser in support of the Terrace Lodge redevelopment initiative. And this work was undertaken by the Administrative and Legislative Services team. So as we resume kind of regular operations for the county following a pandemic and a cyber attack, staff time and efforts are pretty focused squarely on achieving and delivering on council's priorities, and maintaining the regular flow of council, resuming committee work, and staff business in the context of 2022 being an election year as well. So given that our team had planned on hosting one charity event for 2022, I don't feel that the request to hold a charity golf tournament can reasonably be accommodated without a shift in other priorities. So that said, staff, as always, we are willing to shift our priorities if it is the will of council to do so. And while it's not recommended, we will certainly follow your direction in that regard. So with that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Go ahead, Councillor Mennel.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Obviously I can't say that I'm not disappointed, but on the other hand, I understand how much staff can handle, and I know that we've got a lot on our plate, and so I can only hope that this is resurrected in 2023.
Deputy Warden Marks.
And I just have to echo the same, it's disappointing, but the reasons are very valid, and, I certainly accept it. Yeah, we've been through a lot. I say we, certainly staff, and I understand.
Are there any further comments? Go ahead, Councillor Martin.
And I'm fully in support of this. I just would remind council or anyone that certainly we haven't supported the United Way as much as we would have in that sense. So we might, people might individually think of that.
Any further comments about this report? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. The next item up is County of Elgin Cyber Incident.
Resolved that the report titled County of Elgin Cyber Incident dated June 22nd June 2022 from the Chief Administrative Officer be received and filed for information.
Someone to move? Someone to second, please? Councillor Ketchupa and Councillor Jaguar, and I'll turn this back over to you, Julie.
Thanks, Madam Warden. So I was asked by the Warden to prepare a brief presentation summarizing the cybersecurity incident recently experienced by the County of Elgin. This presentation provides an overview of what happened, who attacked the County of Elgin, whether or not this was a ransomware attack, the information breach that we experienced, our response to the situation, as well as some discussion as to whether the threat is over. As well, I'll provide a high-level overview of the costs associated with our response and next steps associated with this incident. So around April 1st, 2022, the County of Elgin was the target of a cyber incident, and access to our network was gained through a sophisticated means by an unauthorized third party. In connection with this incident, certain County of Elgin data was accessed without our authorization. On May 3rd, we were alerted by cybersecurity consultants that some of this data was posted on the dark web, and this is part of the internet that's not easily accessed without additional software and technical expertise. So I've affectionately said this is not Googleable information, though that doesn't mean it's not significant consideration and has to be handled with great care, because the county does take the privacy of the information that we hold in our care quite seriously. So we have contained and remediated the cyber incident, and we are in the process of transitioning to a more secure solution. We continue to cooperate with the Ontario Provincial Police in their investigation of this matter. And we are still working with external cybersecurity experts to investigate this matter and determine what happened, exactly what data was impacted, and to whom the data belongs. So on May 13th, the County of Elgin sent letters by Canada Post and purelated some of those letters to impacted individuals. And at this point in our investigation, there is no evidence to suggest that general members of the public were impacted by the county's data breach. Unfortunately, cyber incidents like this are becoming much more common. And while we have long had robust security measures in place, protecting our networks and our ITS systems, we will have to continue to be vigilant and continue to invest in and review our protective measures and our defenses in this regard. So we have notified the Ontario Provincial Police, the province's cybersecurity team, and the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario. Law enforcement's investigation is ongoing, and I do not have an update with respect to their investigation. So this incident does not appear to be a ransomware attack, which is an attack designed to kind of encrypt files or limit access to files in exchange for money. So the county did not have to pay a ransom. As previously mentioned, we are working with a third-party team of cybersecurity experts to investigate this incident, and we are taking additional measures to safeguard our systems. And while this is ongoing, it does show that we had 26,000 files that were accessed from our network and dumped on the dark web. I would like to commend the county's staff for painstakingly going through each of the 26,000 files that were accessed, reviewing against a set of criteria that was provided by our external legal consultants to assess whether there was a privacy breach. We did find that there were just over 340 individuals impacted by this data dump, 33 of which had highly sensitive data that was published on the dark web. And as a result, those folks will receive credit monitoring and identity theft protection services. So our response, immediately upon discovering this situation or this cybersecurity incident, we activated our IT security protocols as well as our emergency operations protocols. We reported this to the Ontario Provincial Police, and we retained cybersecurity forensics experts to help us with a comprehensive investigation. We acted to protect our infrastructure, and we are currently in the process of resuming our normal operations. So during the course of the cybersecurity incident and the cyber attack itself, it felt like a sprint. And I tell staff now we're into a marathon of recovery from this incident. So going forward, we will have to continue to review our safety measures and security measures and work to strengthen our systems. And I think this is happening in industries with our counterparts within local government as well as private sector as well. Everyone is taking cyber attacks quite seriously, as they should. We will also focus on regular and robust end user training and have conducted some training across the corporation and continue to make that a priority as part of our 2022 action plan. So we are confident that the incident that took place through April and May is now has been contained, and our remediation processes are underway. We anticipate it will take months to fully restore functionality in all areas of our IT system. We had to rebuild a number of key components that link, for example, our financial spreadsheets to certain software, and something new comes up every day where there are some disconnects that have resulted from bringing our networks back online that have to be resolved. So the work there is ongoing. Fortunately, the county did have cyber insurance coverage, and we are currently working with our cyber insurer to submit eligible expenses associated with this incident. It is anticipated that additional and enhanced security measures associated with added protections to our system will cost approximately $153,000. And these costs will be ongoing, and this is in addition to the 2022 Information Technology Services budget that was previously approved by Council for this year. So we do have a lengthy list of lessons learned. We hope to share those lessons learned with our local municipal partners and any other municipalities who are interested in in learning about what we went through. Included within our lessons learned is a review of our IT network and systems, a review and assessment of the business continuity plans that we had in place, and an ongoing review of best practices and industry standards. Our Emergency Operations Center and Information Technology Services teams will complete a full-day incident debrief on June 17th, 2022. So next steps, the consultant's report is forthcoming, and we look forward to sharing that with council once it is available. I do expect it will be available within the next kind of 2 to 4 weeks. So with that, I'd be pleased to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any questions for Julie? Well, I'd just like to thank you, Julie, because we did have a lot of questions from the public, and I think even council, and the problem was Julie didn't have the information till now to actually do this type of report, because we've been waiting for some of the information, and as you can tell, we still are waiting for some more information. But I do want to thank you, Julie, because it's showing transparency and it's explaining to the public exactly what did happen, and they were asking at the time and we didn't have the answers for them. Deputy Warden Marks?
You know, something like this, I think it's worth noting, tremendous effort, staff, you know, it was a challenge. And from us, from the outside and kind of looking in, just a deep appreciation because, you know, think of the last couple of years with the pandemic, we've been through a lot. When I say we, I mean the whole corporation, but staff rose to the occasion again, and I'm certainly proud to be part of this organization because it couldn't have been easy. And I hear stories of the hours. You know, it wasn't an 8-hour day; it was 2 8-hour days, and then a few more hours added in some days. So I certainly take my hat off to all staff who were involved. We're very fortunate to have the people we have.
Councillor Martin?
I was just going to virtually say the
Yeah.
same thing that he had just said, and especially, you know, to everyone, but especially the IT team who really had to spend a lot of time and hours and I mean, it's part of their job, but it's certainly not what they expected.
Are there any further comments? Julie, did you have a further comment?
Just a quick one to thank council for those comments. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a quick moment to extend my own appreciation to the team, from leadership to IT to support staff. Council has a lot to be proud of with respect to how staff did rally around trying to work quickly on behalf of our residents to resolve this crisis. So thank you for sharing those comments, and thanks to our team for doing some exceptional work in this regard.
Okay, with no further comments, all those in favor? And that's carried, thank you. The next item up is Fixing Long-Term Care Act.
Be it resolved that the report titled Fixing Long-Term Care Act 2021 Phase 1 Regulations dated June 1st, 2022 from the Chief Administrative Officer and Director of Homes and Senior Services be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Deputy Warden Marks and Councillor Martin. And are you going to be taking this report, Julie?
I can take the lead and then we'll tag team from there.
All right.
Through you, Madam Warden, to members of council, the purpose of this report is to provide County Council with an overview of the new Fixing Long-Term Care Act 2021 and Phase 1 of the regulations under the Act, along with the implementation status within each of Elgin's long-term care homes. This report also highlights a new screening requirement under the Act and regulations for counselors specifically related to vulnerable sector check and offense declarations. And this requirement includes submitting a criminal record check by October the 11th, 2022. So we will support council in that process and provide you with more information with respect to obtaining a police record check as part of the Police Record Check Reform Act. And Just kind of at a high level, as the governing body for Elgin's 3 long-term care homes, we believe it's critically important that council receive these updates with respect to changes in legislation for long-term care across Ontario. And we hope to continue to be able to provide council with updates on how the implementation is going as the ministry continues to roll out more detailed standards and requirements. Additionally, and as referenced in the report, a follow-up report detailing options associated with the requirement to establish a committee of management will be forthcoming, either your second meeting in June or the first meeting in July. So at this time, Michelle and I are available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Councillor
Just
Martin.
to comment, and that was the idea that they're, that they brought it in so that council members have to be done, and that's fine. But to me, it would have made more sense that it would be the new council coming in and anyone running for council, because on the, the 11th is only a month before the current council members will no longer be functioning. So to me, it just seemed kind of in excess when it's going to be for such a short time for several council members, in our local municipal councils or whatever. But to me, it would have made more sense to say everyone running for a council position has to have it, and the new council, and that way everyone who's elected would already have it.
Comments or questions? Councillor Jiguer.
Madam Warden, in the financial implications section, you talked about the monetary penalties and how regulations were brought in but never proclaimed. Do you anticipate this will resurface and be proclaimed at a later date?
Absolutely. So that is high on our radar, and we're watching very closely, as are all homes across the province, with respect to how that will be rolled out and what the monetary penalties what they will be for our respective homes. So who is impacted, whether it be at the staff level or at the licensee level, which would impact council and the corporation. So we will bring more information forward to council as soon as more information is available there, because it is one that is particularly concerning for us.
Councillor Purcell.
Just on that note, I would suggest that you ask Steve to go over the insurance coverages, looking at the scope of duties. You may find that there possibly is coverage there that the insurance companies aren't pulling back yet. And as long as our staff are within their scope of duties, even the fines might be covered. So good to have a look at that.
Thank you. We've begun that investigation already. Thank you for bringing that forward.
Any further comments or questions? Councillor McPhail? I thought maybe you looked like you had a question.
Just have that puzzled look on my. It's the way of the world anymore.
Go ahead, Councillor Purcell.
These checks they're now doing them online. So I suspect somebody here can help us very quickly do that.
Okay, if there are no further questions or comments, go ahead, Councillor
I was just reading in the report here that says this requirement that does not apply to municipal councillors if their term of office ends on November 14th. So if you're not coming back, then you won't have to go through the process.
That's correct.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. The next item up is Integrity Commissioner, closed meeting investigator.
Out of order. Is it the strat plan next?
I don't know, did I miss something? Oh, sorry, yes, it is. It's the action plan, I apologize.
Be it resolved that the 2022 council action plan and staff operational plan be approved.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jones and Councillor Ketchapah. And did you have anything further to add to this, Julie?
It's pretty much self-explanatory, though worth noting that council's strategic plan definitely puts forward a vision for a vibrant community in Elgin County. And included in your agenda today is council and staff action plan that unfolds from the 2020 to 2022 council strategic plan. So council's action plan identifies key priorities for Elgin County, along with the expected results, strategies, plans, and initiatives that council will deliver on for the balance of this year. Just looking back to when council originally developed the strategic plan in 2020, council did endorse a 2020 to 2022 strategic plan, as well as a work plan and action plan that was developed by management team to support council's priorities. So council also drafted a 2020 and subsequently 2021 council work plan to support its own strategic priorities. In January of 2022, council reviewed its progress related to the actions contained within the 2020 to 2022 action plans and showed strong evidence of council's ongoing commitment towards completing the actions within its work plan and, more generally speaking, its strategic plan. You'll see from the operational plan or staff action plan that staff remains steadfast in our commitment to deliver on council's priorities. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Are there any questions for Julie? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. And now we'll move into the Integrity Commissioner report.
Be it resolved that the report titled Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, Ombudsman Services dated June 3rd, 2022, submitted by the Chief Administrative Officer be received and filed, and that staff be directed to draft a request for proposal for Integrity Commissioner, Closed Meeting Investigator, and Municipal Ombudsman to be issued jointly on behalf of Elgin County and any interested local municipal partners.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second, Councillor Ketchba and Councillor Jones. And did you have anything further you want to add to this report?
Just a quick overview. Independent Resolutions Incorporated submitted written notice that their services will be terminated as of September 30th, 2022. So some quick action is needed in order to ensure that we don't have a period of time without a closed meeting investigator, ombudsman, or integrity commissioner. And we are required by the Municipal Act to have one in place. So I have been working with our local municipal partners on this strategy that is presented to you today. I also hope to reach out to the City of St. Thomas and the Town of Elmer, who was absent from the last administrators meeting, to see if they'd like to be included or just wait and see about the results of the RFP. So it is recommended that we draft a joint RFP, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any questions for Julie? Do you have a question, Councillor McPhail?
No, so itchy head.
Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor? And that's carried, thank you. I'm picking on you today, Councillor McPhail.
That's okay.
Next item up is the council correspondence, so we'll just go through each one. So the first one is the letter from Dutton and District Lions. So Julie, did you want to kind of go through this with council, or?
Sure, I can propose a resolution for each of the correspondence items.
Okay.
So be it resolved that staff be directed to complete a review of the drainage ditch in front of 29475 Pioneer Line, specifically as it pertains to the installation of a drainage pipe and safety concerns.
Okay, moved by Councillor Purcell and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. Are there any questions before we vote? All those in favor? And that's carried. So we'll move into the next resolution from the Town of Elmer.
Be it resolved that a proposed agreement regarding county delivered CEMC or Community Emergency Management Coordinator and Fire Training Program be drafted and sent to the Town of Elmer.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Martin and seconded by Councillor Ketchba. Are there any questions, comments about this? All those in favor? And that's carried. The next is resolution from the town of Aylmer regarding respecting payments in lieu calculations.
Be it resolved that the correspondence dated June 2nd, 2022 from the town of Elmer regarding payments in lieu be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor McPhail and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. The next item is resolution from the Township of Malahide.
Be it resolved that staff be directed to conduct a review of speed and traffic counts on Ron McNeil line at the West Village limit in support of extending the 50-kilometer-an-hour speed limit westerly beyond the built-up area.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Mennel and Councillor Jiguer. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. And the next item is a resolution from the Township of Malahide.
Be it resolved that the correspondence dated June 6th, 2022 received from the Township of Malahide be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move and someone to second. Councillor Jiguer and Councillor Jones. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Mennel?
Just a bit of an explanation. And this has been on our official plan for a number of years, and I know it does not convene with the provincial policy or the county policy, but what has happened in the past, because of our large Amish population, they need to have an agricultural outlet. And so what has happened in the past, often when there's a smaller farm size come forward to land division, even though it doesn't align with the provincial policy, it's passed and the province has not objected. So we're hoping the same thing continues.
Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Next, we'll move to items for information. So we have 2 letters.
Be it resolved that correspondence items number 7.1.1 to 7.1.2 be received and filed.
Okay, someone to move. Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Purcell. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. We'll move into other business. Are there any statements or inquiries by members? Hands. Notice of motion? I don't believe there is. Matters of urgency. Closed meeting? Did you have something, Julie, that you?
I did, yes.
Sorry.
AMO delegations
Okay.
was one that I thought might be worth having a discussion about and getting some direction from council with respect to whether you'd like us to submit for any of those delegations.
Why not?
Councillor Purcell, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I believe it's already in the works, but I think it's important that our warden meet with the Minister of Long-Term Care, continue the conversations and reality checks with that minister.
Any other comments to assist Julie in her reporting here? Go ahead, Councillor Jones.
Given some of the changes that are coming to our physicians and foes, I think maybe we should be talking to somebody about that as well and why they're doing it.
Anything else from councillors that Julie needs to know about? Councillor Purcell?
I just want to thank Julie. They're also booking us as individual mayors for local things because we're booked through AMO through here. So we thank you for that extra effort too.
Got enough direction, Julie? Or?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Certainly. And also a congratulatory letter to our new MPP.
Oh, yes, definitely. We've got a new MPP and it's Rob Flack, so we want to extend our congratulations to him. And I've had the pleasure of actually working with him already. I know he's not sworn in yet, but he was at the Rosie Rhubarb Festival, brought some greetings, and Grant and I had a nice conversation with him. And we're looking forward to working with him in the future. And is there anything else?
Thank you.
All right, so closed meeting.
Be it resolved that we do now proceed into closed meeting session in accordance with the Municipal Act to discuss the following matters under Municipal Act, Section 239-2. Closed session item number 1, it's 239-2B and K, and the topic is long-term care. For closed session item number 2, it's 239-2K, land ambulance services. For closed session item number 3, 239-2K, financial services. For item number 4, it's 239-2C, land acquisition. Item number 5 is 239-2B and K, contract negotiations. Item number 6 is 239-2B and K, long-term care. Item number 7 is 239-2K, legal services. And item number 8 is 239-2B, organizational update. And finally, item number 9 is 239-2A, H, and K, a property matter.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Someone to move, someone to second? Counselor Ketchba and Counselor Mennel. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. And we'll now take a brief recess. Welcome back, everyone. Motion to rise and report.
Resolved that we do now rise and report.
Someone to move, Counselor Mennel, and seconded by Counselor Jones. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. First item, please.
Closed session item number 1, which was long-term care, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Someone to move and second. Counselor McPhail and Deputy Warden Marks. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried.
For closed session item number 2, which was land ambulance services, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Okay, moved by Counselor Martin and seconded by Counselor Jager. Questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's passed.
For closed session item number 3, which was
Counselor Jones and seconded by Counselor Ketchba. All those in favor? And that's carried.
for closed session item number 4, which was land acquisition, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Counselor Martin, seconded by Counselor Purcell. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Closed session item number 5, which is contract negotiations, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Okay, moved by Counselor Jones, seconded by Counselor Jager. All those in favor? And that's carried.
For closed session item number 6, which is long-term care, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Counselor Ketchba and seconded by Counselor Mennel. All those in favor? And that's carried.
For closed session item number 7, which was legal services, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Counselor Jones and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. All those in favor? And that's carried.
For closed session item number 8, which is an organizational update, be it resolved that staff proceed as directed.
Moved by Counselor Purcell and seconded by Counselor Mennel. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Closed session item number 9, which is a property matter, be it resolved that the report from staff be received.
Okay, moved by Counselor Jager and seconded by Counselor Jones. All those in favor? And that's carried. Now we'll move to minutes to approve.
It resolved that the minutes of the meeting, the special meeting held on June 8th, 2022 be adopted.
Okay, someone to move. Counselor Ketchba, seconded by Counselor Mennel. All those in favor? And that's carried. And now motion to adopt recommendations.
It resolved that we do now adopt recommendations from Committee of the Whole.
Okay, moved by Deputy Warden Marks and seconded by Counselor Jones. All those in favor? And that's carried. Consideration of bylaws.
Need a first, second, and third read of bylaw 22-26, being a bylaw to provide a schedule of services and activities subject to fees and charges by the County of Elgin, and to repeal bylaw number 21-6.
Moved by Councillor Purcell and seconded by Councillor Mennel. All those in favor? And that's carried. And the next one, please.
Need a first, second, and third read of bylaw 22-27, being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of the Municipal Council of the Corporation of the County of Elgin at the June 14th, 2022 meeting.
Moved by Deputy Warden Marks and seconded by Councillor Jones. All those in favor? And that's carried. And the good one, adjournment.
Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 12:17 p.m. to meet again on June 28th, 2022 at 9 a.m.
Moved by Councillor McPhail and seconded by Deputy Warden Marks. All those in favor? And that's carried. And thank you very much.
Madam Warden,
Yes?
at what point in time are we, I'm tired of being Alice looking through the looking glass here. What point in time can we expect to have